The evening sun dipped behind the hills, casting long shadows across the quiet suburban road. The world was slowing down. Children playing with their bikes, mothers calling them in for dinner, and the faint hum of engines rolling down the highway. But among that fading daylight, one boy stood at the edge of the road, his small hands clutching a torn backpack, his eyes red from crying. His name was Ethan, and at just 11 years old he whispered words no child should ever say. "I just want it to stop. I wish someone would end it, please. Just kill me." Those were the words that left his trembling lips when a roar of engines filled the air. Before we go deeper, if you believe stories like this can change hearts, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, Everyday Heroes. It helps us keep sharing real stories of courage, kindness, and hope. The bikers weren't the kind of people you'd expect a scared little boy to talk to. Their leather jackets were patched with skulls and flames, their engines thundered like wild beasts, and their boots left dust clouds as they stopped by the roadside. But when Jake, the leader, a rugged man in his late 40s with silver hair and kind eyes, heard what the boy said, he froze. "What did you just say, kid?" he asked softly, stepping off his Harley. Ethan lifted his tear-streaked face. "Please, I don't want to live anymore." Jake felt a shiver run down his spine. Around him, the rest of the gang, 6 men and 1 woman, went silent. They called themselves the Iron Saints, a biker club known for charity rides and helping abused kids. But to outsiders, they looked dangerous. Jake knelt, his voice steady but gentle. "Why would you say that, son? What happened?" Ethan hesitated, his shoulders shaking. Then, between sobs, the truth spilled out. How his father had left 2 years ago, how his mother was sick and bedridden, and how kids at school called him names for wearing the same shoes every day. He said he was tired. Tired of being invisible, tired of being broken, tired of pretending he was okay. Jake looked back at his riders. They all knew that pain. Every one of them had once been a broken kid too. "Listen to me," Jake said. "We're not going to hurt you, son. We're going to help you. You're not leaving this world tonight. You hear me? Not on my watch." They took him to their clubhouse, an old converted gas station at the edge of town. It wasn't fancy, but it was filled with warmth, laughter, and the smell of engine oil and coffee. Ethan sat on a worn couch as Jake handed him a sandwich. The woman biker Tara, who everyone called Mama T, wrapped a blanket around him. She used to work as a nurse before joining the club, and the way she looked at Ethan, with motherly softness, made him burst into tears again. Jake sat across from him. "You ever ride a bike, kid?" Ethan shook his head. Jake grinned. "Tomorrow morning. You will." That night, the Iron Saints didn't sleep much. Jake called the local sheriff, an old friend, to check on the boy's mother. She was found barely conscious, needing urgent medical care. By dawn, she was in the hospital, and the biker club had already raised enough money to pay her bills. When the sun rose, Ethan stood outside the clubhouse, eyes wide. The row of bikes gleamed in the morning light. Jake handed him a helmet. "Hop on, champ." Ethan hesitated. "I'm not allowed." Jake cut him off with a grin. "You're with family now." And just like that, the engines came alive. They thundered down the road, past fields and hills, the wind whipping through Ethan's hair. He laughed, a pure, forgotten sound. And for the first time in a long time, he felt free. The ride lasted hours. They stopped by a lake where Tara handed him a sandwich, and the others taught him how to skip stones. Ethan watched them joke and laugh. These rough-looking strangers who had suddenly become protectors, teachers, friends. "Why are you being nice to me?" Ethan asked. Jake looked out at the water. "Because once someone did the same for me. I was just like you, kid, lost and angry, thought the world didn't care. But then I met a man who showed me there's still good out there. Now it's my turn to pass it on." Ethan stared at him, silent but listening. The words sank deep. Days turned into weeks. The bikers helped repair his home, cleaned the yard, and painted the front porch. They made sure Ethan's mother had everything she needed from food to medicine. The neighborhood began to notice. Those same people who once crossed the street to avoid the Iron Saints were now shaking their hands. Local news caught wind of the story. Biker Club saves struggling family. Cameras showed up. Reporters wanted interviews. But Jake told them, "We didn't do it for fame. We did it for family." Ethan's school life changed too. Jake and Tara dropped him off one morning on their Harleys, the roar echoing across the playground. The bullies who once mocked him now stood speechless. Ethan walked past them with quiet pride. From that day forward, no one called him names again. A few months later, the doctors said Ethan's mom was getting better. The community, inspired by the bikers, raised funds to support her long-term care, On her first day back home, the Iron Saints lined up their bikes outside her house, each engine rumbling in salute. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she hugged Jake. "You saved my boy?" Jake shook his head. "No, ma'am. Your boy saved us." That night, Ethan sat on Jake's bike, staring at the stars. "Do you think people can really change?" he asked quietly. Jake looked at him smiling. "Kid, you already did. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel, Everyday Heroes. Your support helps us keep spreading real stories of compassion and hope. Years later, Ethan would stand before a crowd at a charity event wearing a leather jacket with the words, "Iron Saints," stitched across the back. He'd be older now, confident, strong, and smiling, raising funds for kids who had no one to turn to. He'd tell the story of that night when he begged strangers to end his pain, but instead, they gave him a reason to live. And he'd always end his speech with the same words Jake once told him: "When the world breaks you, don't ask for it to end. Ask for someone to help you rebuild." Because somewhere out there, there's always an everyday hero, maybe even riding a Harley. Even in our darkest moments, kindness can roar louder than despair. Sometimes, the people who look the roughest carry the softest hearts, and one act of compassion can save not just one life, but countless others.